Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, Jesse Milestone, coming to you on this Friday with both good news and bad news.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Where people were just walking around, just jizzing force all over the place. He looks like he has been drinking soy from his mother's teat. Wrap yourselves in, guys, because we are gonna get mean!
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone. I am your God Empress and fearless leader of the Mindless Mob, and on Sunday, the Oscars happened. At the Oscars, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. Will Smith came on stage and slapped him in the face over that, and everyone in the world, including myself, has an opinion. And well, today, this moment on this channel right here is my opportunity to share that opinion with all y'all as to what happened. And the tip of the iceberg of this opinion is that, well, Chris Rock did abso-fucking-lutely nothing wrong. Nothing. Not a thing. That goes for, I don't even think his joke was offensive, but that's just me. Second of all, I don't think a comedian telling an offensive joke is an issue. It's certainly not one that warrants physical fucking violence, but we'll get deeper into that. The first thing of Chris Rock not doing anything wrong is, what's the joke? The joke is, let's make fun of Jada Pinkett Smith for being bald. A simple little one-off quip about the fact that Jada Pinkett Smith is bald. And, well, if you follow social media and the lives of celebrities, you'll know that Jada Pinkett Smith is bald because she has alopecia. She's been fairly public about that. She's made some posts in the past. She made a post about when it first started falling out, and then when Willow, convinced her to shave it and all this stuff. It's not gonna rule me. We're gonna be friends, period. So, obviously, she has struggled with, you could be an asshole. Well, she said we're friends, so it's fine. Obviously, she's struggled with it. Obviously, she has struggled with, this idea that she's going to lose all her natural hair and is dealing with how she's going to do that. And she has the benefit, the luxury, the gift of dealing with that in the way that celebrities do, by publicly posting her journey and garnering the sympathy of hundreds of thousands of people all at once. She gets to do it by spending her hard-earned dollars on weaves made out of human hair that look identical to the things she lost. She gets to spend it doing things like for the Critics' Choice Awards this year. She decided to wear a crown. She got a nice diamond headpiece worth over $46,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Jada Pinkett Smith is not suffering from alopecia. Jada Pinkett Smith is living with alopecia. And I read an incredibly disingenuous article trying to think, she deals with this autoimmune condition called alopecia, and one of the awful side effects is losing. No, bitch. Hair loss is not a side effect of alopecia. Hair loss is the effect of alopecia. It's an autoimmune disease in which your body attacks your hair follicles. It causes them to fall out. It can cause some irregularities in your fingernails because, they're made out of the same shit that your hair is made out of. You can have localized alopecia, where only the hair on your head falls off. And people who have it localized oftentimes do not even lose their eyebrows. They just lose their head hair, but maintain everything kind of below the dome. Some people lose everything on their head. Some people lose it all over their entire bodies. And aside from that, and obviously, the difficulties, self-worth issues, anxieties, etc., that may come with going through something like that, that's it. Those are the effects. And I'm not minimizing anybody who's gone through alopecia. I've had several friends who have. I'm not minimizing their journeys through it. I'm just saying, first of all, he's making fun of someone with an autoimmune disorder. There are autoimmune disorders in which your body kills itself, in which your body attacks parts of its muscles so that you can't use them anymore. There are autoimmune disorders in which you could fit the list of ingredients of foods that your body can actually tolerate onto your hand. Those people suffer from those disorders. Women who don't have the money to replace their hair. Women who maybe their looks are part of their job, their work, their life, their livelihood, but they're not a celebrity. They're not an A-lister. They don't have thousands of dollars to go spend on these perfect looks replacing the thing that they lost. Maybe it's not part of their livelihood. Maybe they can't get any replacement for it whatsoever. Maybe they're poor as shit and they just wrap a bandana around their head. Those people, those women suffer from alopecia. Jada Pinkett Smith does not suffer from alopecia. So the fact she lives with it, she deals with it, she makes the most of it, and is able to make the most of it in a way that ordinary people don't even have the resources for. And Jada Pinkett Smith is not the one going to bat for herself, defending herself. No, Jada Pinkett Smith, man, is defending her honor for her. And this is where we get into this even really, really messed up territory, because the argument that I heard more, the immediate aftermath that I saw kicking around the interwebs on publications, on talk shows, more even than the alopecia point, was people harping on, this is an act of misogyny against a black woman. It's an act of racism against a black woman. You do not talk about a black woman's hair. It is one of the ways that black women have been oppressed since the dawn of time. And anytime another person, even a black person, talks about a black woman's hair, they are oppressing her. Therefore, in that moment, she was so oppressed that Will Smith did his right as a man, as an ally, to unoppress her by smacking Chris Rock in the face. Yeah, or this is just another classic example of toxic masculinity, which is really prevalent in certain communities that we're not allowed to talk about. Certain ideas like, it's okay to do violence to another man if somebody insults your woman. That's a really specific version of toxic masculinity that's very, very prevalent in certain minority cultures over even certain white cultures. Weird, but we can't talk now. Let's not worry about that. Let's not worry about how we've just enabled that. Let's not worry about how we've just said okay to a really, really traditionally classic version of toxic masculinity that I thought we were like pretty much all on board with. That's not okay. Like, it's not ever okay for a guy to go like punch out another dude because defending my woman's honor. Also, when you let your woman have sex with other men, you don't have a leg to stand on in the defending her honor category. Does no one else am I the only one staring the hypocrisy, the absolute hilarity that in the face? This is not about Jada and her honor. This is about Will and his lack of manliness. This is about him being totally fucking whipped. And the only time he can actually express himself as a man anymore is defending her honor. What about his honor? What about his honor when she just openly screws whoever the hell she wants to, and his ass just has to deal with it? And so all of this normalization of this ridiculous behavior, this bouncing through hoops to justify, to try to act like not only is this behavior acceptable, but it's actually good, and it's actually somehow promoting understanding of health disorders and different people and minorities. This is sick. This is sick, because regular people, by the way, regular people who suffer from autoimmune disorders and maybe have a difficult time emotionally with that, they don't get a fucking pass on randomly hitting people. I have a friend who suffers from one of those autoimmune disorders that causes an incredibly restrictive diet. Many, many times, our work organization has dropped the ball. We go to these events. She's a fencing referee. We go to tournaments. She needs special food. Sometimes they do need to bring it in because the shit they provide isn't available to her. They have dropped the ball 1,000,001 times. And when they drop the ball, she orders Uber Eats. She just orders Uber Eats. She takes care of it. She deals with it. She makes sure she gets reimbursed for whatever she's due. She doesn't throw tantrums. She doesn't flip out. And there have been plenty of times where the people that she's working for don't even give her the time or make the concessions for her to find food that she can have that won't make her projectile vomit for the next 8 hours and cause terrifying pain in her insides. Nobody is fucking understanding of her of that. And if she misses too much time trying to make sure that she can feed herself, she gets screamed at. She gets reamed out for not being where she needs to be, not being on strip, not doing her job. To the point where that's one of the reasons that her ass doesn't even bother to show up to these things anymore. Because why? No, what do you think? What do you think would happen to this friend of mine if she had a meltdown? Because if I had a meltdown on her behalf because I just couldn't stand to see how horribly they were treating my friend and not understanding and discriminating against her for her autoimmune disease. And I went up to one of my bosses and just slapped him in the fucking face because they told her that, they weren't going to accommodate her dietary requests. What happens in the real world when shit like that happens? I go to jail. That's what happens. I never work for that organization again. They don't give me an award. They don't give me a fucking achievement award at the end of that ordeal. And I know for a fact, because I've been through ordeals like that with that organization, there are no medals for the heroes. There is only more bullshit. So this needs to stop. This normalization, the stuff we're dealing with Kanye West right now. Kim Kardashian wants everyone to be sympathetic to his bipolar disorder as he walks around threatening Pete Davidson's life, beating up fans. Fucking Alec Baldwin's wife. Guys, don't push him. You know how his mental health is. Don't make him flip out after he already killed somebody. We should be more understanding. We should be more understanding about what he is feeling, what he is going through. I don't give a shit what he's going through. What about the family of the DP who got shot, who was never nearly as rich, famous, or successful? I mean, successful, yes, obviously, clearly very successful. Was never nearly as rich and famous in spite of being incredibly successful in her field as Monsieur Baldwin. What are we supposed to feel about that? I'm supposed to have more sympathy for the guy who shot somebody dead and is just abjectly getting away with it, even though you could clearly trace where there are lines of his culpability because he was the goddamn producer. Now I'm getting off topic. But anyway, you guys see how this all compounds. We keep doing this. Everybody wants to make an excuse, wants to pretend, wants to conflate mental health issues, minority issues, the oppression Olympics, and act like it's because I'm so oppressed, it's because I'm so this, it's because I'm so that I need to act this way, that I need to be crazy and do all these things. Bitch, you were at the Oscars. None of you fuckers are oppressed. You were at the Oscars. Regular people suffer from the things that you parade around and put out like pieces of art. Y'all treat your disorders, your diseases, your identities, your oppression points like it's your art. Not everyone has that goddamn luxury. So maybe think about actually representing the people you claim to represent before getting on your fucking high horse and playing the victim all day long. That's one. That is half of the iceberg of why I feel the way I do about this event. And that is not even the deepest, most important, and most frightening part, in my opinion. And that is the simple fact, when I was growing up, and I think, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I think that most people were raised with the same set of ideals regarding violence. You don't do it. You don't do it unless you're defending yourself. Outside of a structured scenario, like a sporting event per se, or a war, there is no cause for violence unless you have been attacked first. Attack doesn't mean hit. Doesn't mean hit. They could have pulled out a weapon. They could have swung at you. Those are all being attacked. Violence being done to you. Words, not an attack. Words making fun of you, not an attack. Saying, I have a gun in my pocket, I'm going to pull it out and shoot you. Absolutely, sure. By all means, tackle that person. Please. Haha, you're bald. Not a justification for violence, no matter why the person is bald. That shouldn't be hard to understand. And then the platform, the venue in which this happens. Some people say, well, I bet it was scripted for ratings and this and that. And yeah, it may have been, but that doesn't matter. In fact, could almost makes it worse in some ways because the result is the same. The result is that we watch on live television, we watch violence happen, a physical act of violence happen in response to a joke. A joke, sure, that you could say wasn't funny, it was tasteless, but it was a joke. And everybody knew it was intended, as you can't say, it was a comedian standing on stage performing a routine. It was obviously intended as a joke. And we saw the response to that joke be an act of physical violence that many people in this country are giving a pass to, are saying was okay, was justified. Let that sink in. We are now living in a world where people feel comfortable justifying acts of violence over jokes. We already took away protections for comedians. We already took that away, which when I go back to what I said, Chris Rock did nothing wrong, right? We need comedians to offend people sometimes. We desperately need that. We've gotten rid of that, and that's part of why society has gone to shit. We have designated comedians, certain people, that person in your friend group who's that asshole and you kind of let him say whatever you want and laugh it off. That person had a special place in society. They filled the role in those interpersonal groups that a comedian did on the stage, the comedian in your workplace did there. These are the people that are put there specifically to test the limits of society. And what used to happen was they tested those limits. Sometimes they crossed the line. They're like, oh, there's the line. What's on which side of it? And they'd go across it. And society would freak out more than the majority. An easy majority would go, oh, no, I think that was not okay. I think that was not okay. And the comedian would go, oh, shit, that's the line. Let's better not cross it again. Everyone else would go, that's the line. We're not going to cross that line. But now you can get canceled for crossing the line by accident. You can get canceled for having crossed the line 15 years ago when the line was in a completely different place and you weren't crossing it back then. we've taken away that barrier, that protection. And so we as a society don't know where the line is anymore, because if you can't cross the line, then how do you know how close you are to it? How do you know if you've actually gotten as close as you possibly can to it? So you have to keep, just in case, just so we don't offend people, just so we don't accidentally cross the line, we have to move it closer and closer and closer and closer to ourselves until we live in this ridiculously restrictive world where there is a prescribed list of words you can and can't say. And if you stray from the deviated script, if you deviate at all from the script, you will be canceled. You'll be fired. You will be ended. Now you will be hit. You'll be struck. How far are we from you will be killed? Because that is where this leads. Make no mistake. This is not sensationalism. This is not, this is the logical progression. I have been tracing this progression since I was in college. Since I encountered students saying things like, die, cis, scum. Cis being in the lingo for not trans, basically. Anybody who's not trans, who is fine with the sex that they were born with, is cis. And so it became this thing on my campus to say, die, cis, scum. And I went to a friend and I said, why is this okay? Why does your group think that it is okay to propagate hatred against the people who aren't like you, when the entire point that you're trying to make is that it's not fair that those people propagate hatred against you for not being like them? And they said, well, it's fine because we'll never actually have the power to do this and any of that stuff. And so I'm like, but you're still accepting hatred as part of your tenets. But it's okay because they hate us first. They hated us first, so it's fine to hate them back because we'll never have the power. So you're admitting that your movement, you're not actually trying to change anything. Oh no, we're definitely trying to change things. Okay. So when you do get that change that you want, what's going to stop you? What's going to stop you from accepting this viewpoint that you've been promulgating from the beginning at the grassroots level, its very inception? What is going to then finally allow you to let go of that viewpoint? That it's okay to hate, to cancel, to do violence to people who aren't like you? And the answer is nothing. Nothing will stop that from happening. And that's exactly what we saw on television for the world to see. We saw that, something the seeds of which were planted almost a decade ago, come to fruition in our faces. We have the first widespread marked public instance where people are actively out there saying, yes, it is okay to hit somebody if they offended you or someone around you enough. Because let's not forget, this is the scariest part. It's not like Jada herself got up there and struck Chris Rock. That would be a very different conversation. Still wrong. Still everything I say applies. But now we have this other layer that not only is it okay to do this in response to that type of joke, but you don't even have to be the target. Allies now get to go out and hit whoever they want to for having wrong think. So what's to stop a white male ally who thinks I'm problematic because I have wrong think about being a woman? I've been told this many times, by the way, that I'm a sexist, I'm anti-female, I'm not a feminist, I'm not as good of a feminist as the man talking to me. So what's going to stop him now from hitting me if I say something that he thinks is sexist towards women? What will stop a man from attacking a woman because he feels that what she said was sexist? We're having people say that it was racist what Chris Rock said to Jada. He's fucking darker than she is. So if he can get hit for being racist over her hair, if somebody in the same group can get hit over another offense, who is safe? And where does it stop? And to not understand that we have taken that first very, very dangerous step down a slippery slope from which we cannot recover. If you don't understand that intrinsically, you are either ignorant or choosing to be. There's no other way to say it. And I don't have patience for people who can't open their fucking eyes and understand how dangerous and how dire the situation has gotten. And this is not a right or left thing, guys. Once again, I'll always remind you of this. This is behavioral. These are the attitudes of the people. They're not attached to the ideals. They're attached to the society. What are we okay with doing? Because mark my words, if it's happening on one side, the other side immediately, the second they see it, is going to go, oh, okay, well, that's our permission. It's been happening. It's all that's been happening politically, back and forth. We keep getting nastier. We keep getting less professional. We keep getting shittier as human beings. We keep dropping the quality of our speech, of our lexicons, because we see the other side doing it. Well, if they're doing it and it works for them, then we'll just do it too. And we keep trying to, it's like one-upping, but going the wrong fucking way. And so, no. This is not an instance of, well, the left did it, so now it's okay for the... No, this is not okay for anybody to do it, and it will not be okay. It will continue to not be okay, and I will stand here calling out violence and the normalization and acceptance of violence as long as it's fucking happening. And if you're not with me on this one, I don't want to hear your perspective. I know I'm open-minded, everyone their opinion, everyone this. I don't have room to tolerate a perspective that is okay with physical violence in response to anything other than physical violence. So if you don't agree that what Will Smith did was absolutely, unequivocally, undefinably wrong, and it doesn't even matter what Chris Rock said because Chris Rock used words and Will Smith used his hands, then I don't have time for your counter argument because your counter argument is amoral. The end. Good day. Leave you with a little positive note. Remember, out there, or existential note, I don't know. Some people find this positive, some people find it negative. These are words I live by. There are no reasons, no causes, no explanations, no excuses. There is only living. God Empress out.